I woke to an empty bed, the sheets beside me cold as ice. My eyes blinked open, heavy with sleep, but something felt off. Moonlight sliced through the window, casting jagged shadows across the hardwood floor. Abigail Wilson, 38, married to Mark for 10 years. Yet, here I was, alone, in the dark. My breath caught as I sat up, rubbing the grit from my eyes. Then I heard it, a low murmur, hushed, careful, drifting from the hallway. Mark's voice. My stomach twisted. I slid my feet to the floor, the chill biting my toes, and crept toward the sound. "She doesn't suspect anything yet," he said, smooth as silk, like he was soothing someone. My pulse hammered against my ribs. Who the hell was he talking to? I froze mid-step, straining to hear more, but his voice dropped, barely a whisper now. The words blurred, swallowed by the night, but that one sentence burned into me. She doesn't suspect anything yet. Me? He meant me. Footsteps. Sharp. Quick. I darted back to the bedroom, my heart thudding so loud I swore he'd hear it. I slid under the covers, forcing my breathing to slow, steady, like I'd never stirred. The bed dipped as he climbed in, his weight settling beside me. A minute passed, then two. He exhaled, long and relaxed, like nothing had happened. I turned, blinking up at him, voice soft, groggy. "Where were you?" "Bathroom," he muttered, no hesitation, a lie. I swallowed the lump in my throat, rolled over. My mind screamed at me, something's wrong, but I shoved it down. Not tonight. Not yet. The shadows stretched longer, and I lay there, wide awake, wondering what he was hiding. Morning light filtered through the kitchen blinds, weak and gray. Mark was still asleep, his arm sprawled across my pillow like he owned it. I slipped out of bed, grabbed my phone, and padded barefoot to the counter. Coffee could wait. Something gnawed at me, that whisper from last night echoing in my skull. I didn't usually check our bank accounts. Mark handled that, always had, but today, my gut wouldn't let it go. I opened the app, scrolled through the transactions. My stomach tightened. $500, $1,200, $750, $2,000. A dozen withdrawals over 3 months, small but steady, like a leak I hadn't noticed. We shared bills, mortgage, utilities, groceries, but personal accounts were separate. These weren't bills, weren't investments we'd discussed. My hands gripped the phone harder, knuckles whitening. What the hell was he doing? Footsteps behind me. I locked the screen fast, turned. Mark leaned in the doorway, rubbing his neck, voice thick with sleep. "Morning." He shuffled to the coffee pot, oblivious, or pretending to be. I set my phone down, casual. "What's for breakfast?" "Guess it's your turn," he said, smirking, pouring his coffee. That smirk, too easy, too practiced. I watched him take a sip, his free hand resting on the counter. "I checked our bank account this morning," I said, voice light, testing. He froze, just for half a second, grip tightening around the mug, then a chuckle, forced. "Yeah?" "There are a lot of small withdrawals," I pressed, crossing my arms. "Things I don't recognize." He didn't flinch this time, just nodded, setting the cup down. "Small investments, a few business opportunities, short-term gains, that's all." His eyes met mine, steady, unreadable. Liar. I knew it in my bones. My mind raced. He's hiding something, but I forced a smile. Let it drop. For now. The rest of the day he was glued to his phone, taking calls in the next room, screen always face down when he set it on the table. A wall rose between us, invisible but solid. I wasn't imagining this. Something was wrong, and I'd find out what. Night settled heavy over the house, the TV's hum a dull backdrop. Mark stretched, yawning. "Shower time," he muttered, tossing his phone onto the coffee table. Face down, like always. I stared at it as he disappeared down the hall, water hissing on in the distance. He never left it unattended. Ever. My pulse quickened, a drumbeat in my chest. I didn't think, just reached. My hands shook as I tilted the screen, just enough to see. A notification glowed. A text from Emily Carter. My breath hitched. Emily Carter? Who was that? I tapped the preview, heart slamming against my ribs. Just make sure she stays in the dark. Almost there. The words seared into me, sharp and cold. She, me, almost there. What the hell did that mean? My mind spun. Another woman? A plan? Money? The room shrank around me, walls pressing in tight. The water cut off. Panic shot through me like lightning. I dropped the phone back, exact same spot, sank into the couch, gripping my knees to stop the trembling. A minute later, Mark strolled in, towel ruffling his hair, calm as ever. Decide on dinner yet? He asked, voice easy, like he hadn't just been plotting something in the dark. Not yet, I managed, throat dry. He grabbed his phone, unlocked it without a glance, no hesitation, like there wasn't a damn thing to hide. But I knew better now. That name, Emily Carter, lodged in my brain like a splinter festering. I should have confronted him, demanded answers right then, but my tongue stayed still. If he was this good at lying, I needed more than a hunch. I needed proof. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. Mark's steady breathing beside me, a mockery of peace. He looked so calm, so innocent, but those words, almost there, twisted in my gut. Was she his lover, his partner in some scheme? My fingers curled into the sheets. I'd been blind too long, ignoring the cracks. Not anymore. I let him kiss me goodnight, let him think I was still in the dark. But as he drifted off, I whispered into the silence, "Who the hell is Emily Carter?" The question hung there, unanswered, a promise to myself. I wouldn't break. I'd dig until I found the truth, and then I'd bury him with it. Morning sun slanted through the kitchen, sharp and unforgiving. Mark sat across from me, scrolling his phone, sipping coffee like it was any other day. I barely touched mine, the mug warm against my palms, my mind still churning from last night. Emily Carter. Almost there. Then he looked up, smiling too easily. "Hey babe, can you sign something real quick?" I blinked, wary. Sign what? He slid a document across the table, casual as handing me a grocery list. Just some financial updates for tax purposes. His tone was smooth, but his fingers drummed the table, an uneven rhythm, a tell I'd missed too many times. I picked up the papers, stomach tightening. Legal jargon filled the pages, dense and dry, but I flipped to the last one. Property transfer agreement. My assets, savings, the condo, everything, shifted to his name. My pulse pounded in my ears, a roar. I forced my eyes up. He watched me, that careful smile still plastered on. "Mark," I said, voice too steady. "What is this?" "It's just a precaution, babe," he replied, leaning back. "Legal convenience. Nothing changes between us." His words dripped honey, but his jaw twitched, just for a second. "Nothing changes?" I set the papers down, slow, deliberate. "You're asking me to sign over everything to you." "Not everything," he said, smoother now, like I'd misheard. "Just consolidating for protection, in case something happens." My hands trembled. Not fear, rage. This wasn't love. This was a heist, planned and polished, and he thought I'd just nod and sign. I held his gaze unflinching. "I'm not signing this." His smile flickered, then hardened. He leaned in, voice low, controlled. "Abigail, don't be dramatic, it's just paperwork." "Then why are you so eager for me to sign without reading it?" I shot back, calm but cutting. His expression shifted, something dangerous flickering beneath the calm. He didn't answer right away, just leaned back, arms crossed, fingers tapping idly, waiting for me to crack, to panic. "You really don't want to do this, Abigail," he said finally, voice too smooth, a warning coiled inside it. "A threat." My breath caught, but I didn't flinch. "Is that a threat, Mark?" He smirked, cold now. I just think you're making this harder than it needs to be. I let the silence stretch, watching him, the twitch in his jaw, the way he thought he still held the board. He was wrong. I smiled, just enough to make him shift uncomfortably. You know what, Mark? I stood, gathering the papers, voice light. You're right. I do need to think about this. His eyes narrowed, but I turned away, placing the stack neatly on the counter. No argument, not yet. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing me break. This was his move, and my counter was coming. He'd spent months setting this up, thinking I'd crumble. He didn't know me at all. I wasn't the Abigail he married anymore. I was the one who'd outsmart him, and he'd never see it coming. The next morning, the living room hummed with tension, sunlight spilling through the blinds in harsh stripes. Mark sat on the couch, sipping coffee, his posture too relaxed, like he hadn't just tried to strip me bare with a pen stroke. I'd barely slept, my mind racing through his lies. The withdrawals, Emily Carter, that damn document. He thought he'd cornered me, but I'd moved faster. I sat across from him, hands steady, waiting for his next play. He glanced up, sensing the shift, and set his cup down. We need to talk, he said, voice even, rehearsed. Oh? I tilted my head, keeping my tone light. He exhaled, leaning forward, like this was hard for him, like he was the victim here. I think we should separate, Abigail. It's not working anymore. You have to see that. There it was, his endgame, delivered like a scripted line. I let the words hang, a beat, then another, watching his calm mask. He wasn't asking, he was telling me. I leaned forward, resting my arms on the table, voice low. You've been planning this, haven't you? A flicker crossed his face, gone too fast to name, but I saw it. He shrugged, casual. It's for the best. We've grown apart. Grown apart, I echoed, a dry laugh slipping out. You mean you want out, but you don't want to leave empty-handed. His lips pressed thin, jaw tightening, but he didn't deny it. He'd spent months weaving this. Secret calls, missing money, that transfer trap, thinking I'd fold. My chest burned with the urge to scream, to hurl his coffee across the room, but I didn't. Instead, I leaned back, tilting my head slightly, and dropped the bomb. I already moved my assets, Mark. His posture stiffened, breath catching, a crack in his armor. What do you mean? He asked, voice too sharp, too controlled. I smiled, slow and deliberate, savoring the shift. Exactly what it sounds like. His jaw clenched, eyes darkening as the realization hit. He'd lost. He'd orchestrated every move to come out on top, but I'd slipped through his fingers. Silence stretched, thick and heavy. Then he stood, grabbing his coffee, taking a slow sip before turning to me. His smile returned, colder, calculated. You're going to regret this, Abigail. Threat or bluff, I didn't care. I was ready. He stormed out, the door slamming behind him, and I exhaled, shoulders easing. He'd underestimated me, and that was his mistake. I'd won this round, but his parting shot lingered. He wasn't done, not yet. Still, for the first time, I held the power, and it felt damn good. Days later, the kitchen was quiet, my coffee bitter on my tongue. I'd won a battle, moving my assets before Mark could grab them, but the war wasn't over. His threat, "You're going to regret this," echoed in my head, a splinter I couldn't pull out. Then came the knock, sharp, official. I set my mug down, stomach nodding, and opened the door. A man in a navy blazer stood there, expression blank, holding a thick envelope. Abigail Wilson? I nodded. You've been served. He handed it over and walked away, leaving me with a weight that sank into my bones. I tore it open at the table, breath shallow. Petition for dissolution of marriage. My eyes skimmed the pages, landing on his demands. Half the condo, the car, 50% of our shared assets, spousal support. A bitter laugh escaped me. He wasn't just leaving, he wanted to bleed me dry. Months of planning, whispers, withdrawals, Emily Carter, culminating in this. I exhaled sharply, shoving the papers aside, and called Laura Bennett, my lawyer. Her office smelled of polished wood and ink, a calm contrast to my churning fury. Laura flipped through the documents, a smirk tugging her lips. "He's got nothing," she said, tapping her nails on the desk. "You moved everything into a trust before he filed. Legally, he can't touch it. Spousal support? With your income history? Not a chance." I let out a slow breath, tension easing slightly. "Just like that?" She grinned, amused. "Just like that." Relief flickered, but it didn't last. That evening, I'd just poured a glass of wine when the front door slammed open. Mark stood there, fury rolling off him in waves. Tie loosened, jaw clenched so tight I heard his teeth grind. "You think you're so smart, don't you?" His voice cut like a blade, venom dripping. I didn't flinch, just took a slow sip, watching his storm brew. "I think I'm protecting myself," I said, calm, deliberate. He stepped closer, hands curling into fists. "You planned this." His eyes blazed, accusing, like I'd betrayed him. I set my glass down, tilting my head. "So did you." The air thickened with unspoken truths, his lies, his schemes, now crumbling. He exhaled sharply, glaring. "This isn't over, Abigail." He turned, storming out, leaving the door ajar, a chill creeping in. I shut it, locking it tight, my hands steady, despite the fire in my chest. Laura was right. He had no legal grip on me now, but that look in his eyes, that desperate edge, told me he'd fight dirtier. He wanted war. Fine. I'd buried my fear under steel resolve. He'd regret underestimating me. The wine tasted sweeter now, a quiet victory sip. But I knew this was just the start. Mark didn't lose quietly, and I'd be ready for whatever he threw next. Trouble hit at work first, a slow burn I didn't see coming. It started with glances, lingering stares from colleagues, whispers that died when I walked in. By mid-morning, my assistant, Rachel Evans, hovered at my office door, shifting uncomfortably. "Hey, I think you should know something," she said, wringing her hands. I glanced up from my laptop, already drained. "What is it?" She hesitated, then sighed. "There's a rumor going around. I wasn't going to say anything, but..." She trailed off, eyes darting away. "Just tell me, Rachel." She swallowed hard. "People are saying you took money from your joint accounts, that you were laundering funds." The words landed like a slap, sharp and stinging. "What?" My voice was steady, but fury coiled in my chest. "I don't believe it," she added quickly. "But Mark, he's been talking. Lawyers, mutual friends, it's spreading." I stared at her, the room tilting slightly. He wasn't just after my money anymore, he was trying to ruin me, to torch my name. "Thanks for telling me," I said, forcing calm. She nodded, slipping out, leaving me with a fire I couldn't douse. By the time I reached Laura's office, I was a live wire, slamming screenshots of texts and emails onto her desk, proof of the whispers circling me. "This needs to stop now," I said, hands shaking with rage. Laura scanned them, chuckling dryly. "Well, he's desperate." She leaned back, tapping her pen. "He's slandering you, yes, but we can use that. If he's spreading lies, he's opening himself up to defamation charges. We send a cease and desist first. If he ignores it, we escalate." I clenched my jaw. "I don't want this dragging out in court. I want him stopped." She sighed. "He's baiting you, Abigail. He wants you emotional. Don't let him dictate your move." I nodded stiffly, swallowing the anger, but it simmered, hot and relentless. That night, I found him at L'Artisan, one of the city's ritziest spots, laughing over drinks with two colleagues. The sight of him, unfazed, smug, like he hadn't spent days dragging my name through the mud, made my blood boil. I didn't storm in, didn't scream. I walked up, calm as death, leaned down and whispered in his ear, You have no idea what you've started. His smirk faltered, just for a split second, before he masked it with a grin, wiping his mouth with a napkin. Let's see what you've got, then, he said, eyes gleaming, a challenge. I straightened, turned, and left, my pulse hammering but my steps steady. He thought this was a game, that I'd crack under the pressure. Every lie he spread was a rope I'd use to hang him. I'd told myself that, and I meant it. Back home, I paced, Laura's words looping in my head. Don't let him dictate your move. He wanted me to react, to lash out. I wouldn't. Not yet. I'd hit harder, smarter. My phone buzzed. Laura again. He's filed a motion for a financial audit, she said, voice tight. Claims you mismanaged joint funds. I pressed my fingers to my temple, exhaling sharp. He's trying to drain me? Legal fees? Stress? Laura's tone hardened. Exactly. We counter this, Abigail. He's digging his own grave. I smirked, fury steadying into resolve. Mark wanted a fight. He'd get one and I'd end it. The courtroom air was thick, heavy with anticipation. I sat across from Mark, his sharp suit and tighter tie a mask for the desperation I knew simmered beneath. 2 weeks had passed since his audit motion, a frantic grab to exhaust me, but Laura had countered fast, dismantling his lies with precision. Now, he'd upped the ante, he and Emily Carter filing a fraud complaint, accusing me of falsifying financial records for months. If it stuck, I'd face more than lost money. Criminal charges loomed. My hands rested steady on the table, but my pulse thrummed as Laura leaned in. We've got them, she whispered, her confidence a lifeline. Mark's lawyer stood first, voice oily, assured. Your Honor, my client believes Mrs. Wilson improperly moved assets to evade a fair settlement. We request a full forensic audit of all financial transfers in the past 6 months. He slid a folder forward, thick with supposed evidence. I didn't flinch, just watched Mark, waiting for his smirk. It came, faint but there, like he thought he'd won. Laura adjusted her glasses, rising calmly. Your Honor, all of my client's financial moves were made before Mr. Wilson filed for divorce. There's no evidence of mismanagement or fraud. She placed a binder on the bench, heavier, sharper. Moreover, we request this motion be dismissed with prejudice, and Mr. Wilson cover all legal fees. This is blatant financial harassment. The judge took their time, flipping through pages, expression unreadable. Silence stretched, tense, electric. Mark shifted, his fingers tapping once, twice, a crack in his calm. I held still, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a glance. Laura had found the flaw, his forged documents, timestamps on accounts that didn't exist back then. The analyst had confirmed it, every false number a nail in his coffin. The judge looked up, voice firm. The court finds no grounds for a full financial audit. The motion is denied. Furthermore, due to lack of evidence, Mr. Wilson will bear all legal costs associated with this claim. The gavel fell, a sharp clap, thunder in the quiet. Mark's face paled, jaw locking tight. His lawyer whispered urgently, but he didn't move, didn't speak. Laura squeezed my arm, a quiet triumph in her eyes. Outside, he brushed past me, steps heavy, deliberate. I let him take 3 strides before I spoke, just loud enough. We're done here, Mark. He froze, shoulders stiff, then kept walking, swallowed by the crowd. No retort, no threat, just silence. His empire of lies had collapsed, no fireworks, just the weight of defeat settling in. I'd won, not with screams or tears, but with every move he'd underestimated. Back at Laura's office, she laid out the final blow. He's withdrawing the fraud claim, she said, sliding a new folder across. Forensic proof killed it. We countersued for defamation and falsified evidence. He's got no fight left. I nodded, exhaling slow. I want full damages. She smiled, sharp, satisfied, already in motion. The war was over, his last desperate swing dodged. I'd buried them, Mark, Emily, their schemes, in the rubble of their own making. Standing there, I felt the first real breath in months, clean, unshackled. No more battles, no more shadows. Just me, still standing, stronger than he'd ever know. 2 days later, the air felt lighter, the Chicago skyline shimmering beyond my balcony. I'd met Laura that morning, her office now a place of endings, not fights. She slid the settlement papers across her desk, crisp and final. "It's done," she said, leaning back. Mark signed. He gets nothing, not a dime, claims dismissed, defamation backfired, reputation in tatters. I scanned the pages, fingers brushing the ink, then slipped them into my bag. "How do you feel?" she asked, watching me. I laughed, a soft exhale. "Lighter." She grinned. "Good. You deserve that. Go enjoy your life, Abigail. You've earned it." That evening, Jessica Hayes and my mother Claire insisted on a victory dinner at Claire's place. The warmth hit me as I stepped inside, roast chicken wafting from the kitchen, their laughter a balm. Claire hugged me tight, her eyes soft with relief. "It's over," she whispered. "Yes," I murmured, hugging back. "It is." Jessica poured champagne, raising her glass with a mischievous grin. "To freedom, and to never letting a man think he can outsmart you again." I clinked mine against hers, laughing fully now. "I'll drink to that." We ate, talked, reminisced, the weight of months lifting with every bite, every smile. For once, I wasn't braced for the next hit. Later, alone on my balcony, the city stretched infinite before me, lights pulsing like a heartbeat. My phone buzzed, an unknown number. I didn't hesitate, just blocked it, a reflex now. Mark was gone, his threats hollow, his grip broken. I opened my laptop, a blank document glowing white, and typed, "This is my story now." The words felt solid. Mine. I wasn't the woman who'd ignored the whispers, who'd trusted too long. I'd lost things, time, faith in love, but gained more: strength, clarity, control. Closing the laptop, I leaned on the railing, the night cool against my skin. The storm had passed, its thunder faded, leaving a silence that didn't scare me anymore. I'd fought, not just for my money, but for me, my dignity, my future. The skyline shimmered, endless, and I smiled, small, but real. This wasn't the end I'd imagined, but it was better. I was free, not because he'd let me go, but because I'd taken myself back. For the first time in months, I slept that night, dreamless, peaceful, the weight gone. Betrayal blindsides us, doesn't it? 1 minute, you're safe, loved, and the next, the ground's gone, and you're falling. I'm Abigail Wilson, and this was my story, waking up to whispers, fighting a man I trusted, clawing my way out of his trap. Mark thought he could outsmart me, take everything. My money, my name, my peace. He was wrong. I didn't just survive his lies. I turned them against him, rose stronger, sharper. Life tests us in the dark, when we least expect it. But here's what I've learned. Strength isn't avoiding the fall. It's how you climb back up. I could have let it break me, let fear choke me silent, but I chose to fight. Not with fists or tears, but with every ounce of will I had left. And if I can do it, outmaneuver a schemer, reclaim my life, you can too. Have you ever faced that moment where the odds stacked high and someone you trusted turned cold? Where you had to dig deep, fight for yourself? I want to hear it. Drop a 1 in the comments if this hit home, or tell me your city. Let's connect over the battles we've won. You're stronger than you think. I didn't see it in myself at first, buried under doubt, but it was there, waiting. Life might throw its worst: betrayal, loss, chaos. But those are the moments you find who you are. Sometimes, walking away from what breaks you, standing tall when they expect you to fall, That's the greatest win. So, stay smart, stay strong, never let anyone steal your power. If this story stirred something in you, hit subscribe, tap that bell. There's more to come. Share your thoughts below. I read everyone. Until next time, keep rising. You've got this.